Hello everyone, my name is Jason and I am an ISFP. You are watching my ISFP journey. Thank you so much for watching. I do ask that you would please subscribe. Today, I hit 100 subscribers, so that's kind of cool. So if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, then there are at least 100 other people on planet Earth who think this channel is worth subscribing to. Surely you don't want to set aside their wisdom. You should listen to the intelligence that they have to offer. And by the way, I think some of them, based on comments, might be INTPs and ISTPs, usually pretty smart people. So you should really take that into consideration and consider subscribing. I mean, you don't want to go against the wisdom of 100 people, a whopping 100 people. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I do really appreciate it. All kidding aside, today is Mother's Day. And I want to take a moment to talk about my mom. Now, my mom is, I believe, an ESTP. I'm going to say about like 95% sure she's an ESTP. When I look at things from a cognitive function standpoint, she definitely lines up. And when I just look at anecdotal evidence, stories about ESTPs, obviously that's not scientific, stories are not scientific, but she seems to fit the mold pretty well of an ESTP. So I'm pretty sure that my mom's an ESTP. So what I want to talk about on this Mother's Day are the aspects of parenting that I really appreciate about my mom, specifically the things that I think are true of her because she's an ESTP, the things that I learned from her because she's an ESTP, okay? So first of all, on this Mother's Day, and to all of you moms out there, happy Mother's Day, I would like to say that my ESTP mom was fun. And is, by the way. My mom is still alive and well, okay? So she was and is fun. Now, what that looks like practically is that I know that when I look back on my memories of my life with my mom, she wanted me to have fun. She wanted me to have a good time. She wanted me to enjoy life. She wanted me to have interesting and enjoyable experiences. And she wanted me to have great memories. She made great memories for me. Okay, so she was a goer and a doer, and she still is. Okay, so when I was a kid, and really through my whole life, to the degree that I've been able to, she's a person who likes to go places. She takes a lot of vacations. She goes a lot of places. She loves to experience the world, and she likes to drag people along with her on those experiences. And I don't mean drag them along in a bad way. I mean, she doesn't want to just go into the world and say, I'm going to go experience the world by myself. She wants to bring the people she cares about along with her so that they can have the fun, exciting, enjoyable experiences that she's going to have, so that they can make great memories. I have a lot of really good memories from my childhood and throughout my entire life, and a good deal of them were only made possible because of my mom and because she was dedicated to having fun and making life fun for me. So right off the bat, one of the very first things that I can say is that my mom has made my life fun, enjoyable. She's given me great experiences and given me great memories. And what's really cool is that it didn't just stop with me. She still does that with my children. She loves to take my kids places, to show them new things, to give them new experiences, to take them to the places that they want to go. It's very common for her on Tuesdays. I don't really know what the significance is of Tuesday. It's very common for her on a Tuesday to say to my kids, hey, do you guys want to go to the movies? Do you want to go ice skating? Do you want to go to, we have this ceramics place here where you can go and paint ceramics, She takes them to all these different places. She took them, there's a city about 3 hours from where I live that just has all kinds of amusements and different things, and she takes them there. She just loves to take people on adventures, show them exciting things. And I think that's an ESTP quality, okay? I think the extroverted sensing side of her just loves to experience things in general and give other people good experiences. And I think that, that extroverted feeling side of her as her child function or her third function causes her to enjoy sort of seeing the happy emotions that are created in other people. So one of the great things about her is that she creates great experiences and she wants to bring her loved ones along. Another thing that I think that I really learned from my mom is the value of working hard and doing good work. Okay, so my mom places a high value on producing things that are, I'll say, of high quality, but it's more like doing things right. Okay, so she has a very sort of set way that she likes things to be done. Okay, which I do too. But I think her motive behind that is because she knows that when things are being done a certain way, they come out on the other end right. And that might sound a little bit like extroverted thinking, which she doesn't have in her top four, in her function stack. But I think it really is born out of that introverted thinking logic combined with an extroverted sensing desire for things to look good or be right in the environment, sort of being responsible with the environment around you and enjoying the environment around you. When things are done well, it just creates a better environment. It makes life more enjoyable for everyone who has to experience whatever it is that you did. And she has always been very dedicated to doing things a certain way and then them coming out well on the other end. Now, I do think that part of that is just natural in me being an ISFP, but I definitely think that throughout my life, I was able to see the value of hard work, to see the value of doing things well and creating, creating a product at the other end. And I understand I'm not talking about like physically creating something. It could be that, but more like creating an environment, a situation, setting things up so that when they're done well, they look nice, they're pleasant, and everyone can enjoy them. Okay. So those are two things that have been a really big deal in my life that I think that I have gained from my mom. Now, something else that I'm going to say, I just want to say I appreciate about my ESTP mom, although I'm not sure that I've learned much about, I'm not sure that I've learned from this. I'm going to say this is like a combination of her, her inferior introverted intuition, combined with her, maybe, I'm struggling with this one. Maybe her extroverted feeling, but maybe a little bit of her introverted thinking too. Basically, what it comes down to is that she is very wise, I would say, logical and kind of premeditated and planned out in a way in her preparation for the future. But I think it's born out of almost an inferior introverted intuition concern for the way things are going to turn out. So, I don't know, some of you might follow the Objective Personality YouTube channel, Dave and Shannon. They're fantastic. If you don't follow them, you really should, because they're really amazing. But they talk about the fact that people with a perceiving function, or they call them observers, as their first function, which of course causes them to have an observer as their fourth function, their inferior function, or a perceiving function. In this case, introverted intuition is their inferior function. But that oftentimes people who have that perceiving function as their first function and then another one as their fourth function can be, it's like they don't have the full picture of the way that the things that they observe fit together and play out. So in this case with the ESTP, having high extroverted sensing, an ESTP can take in all of this sensory information, right? But having low introverted intuition, they may not be able to piece it all together all the time and really come to a logical conclusion on what it means or what the likely outcome is of all of this sensory data that they're putting together. Okay. So I think the way that comes out in the ESTP in general, I think, is almost a little bit of a cautious moving into the future, right? So my mom is very cautious about like looking at, okay, we're going to go to this place. You know, these things could happen. So we need to be prepared for these things happening. Now, the reality is that many of these things might have a very low likelihood of actually happening. And so many of us who might not have introverted intuition as our inferior function, we'll just go do whatever. And not necessarily, we're not really worried about what might happen from a negative standpoint, which it's nice to not always be worried about what might happen. But the result of that is that sometimes you don't prepare well for what might happen, okay? Because you're just like, it'll be fine. I mean, that's the way it is with me as an ISFP, right? Always living in the moment. And with introverted intuition as my child function, I'm just kind of always like, yeah, it'll work out, you know, it'll be great. There's nothing to worry about. I'll just go, I'll figure it out. I'll deal with things as they come, and I don't need to plan. I don't really need to think about it, okay? Well, my mom is not like that, okay? I think the ESTP, they're a little bit more concerned. They're a little bit more cautious about what could happen, especially from a, you know, potentially negative standpoint, which that might have its downsides. But the upside of that is that they prepare, they plan. My mom is always prepared for almost any contingency, whatever might go wrong. She's, you know, thought about the possibility of it going wrong and is prepared for it. And there is a lot of wisdom in that. Okay. So I say that's not something that I've really learned from her because I don't do it very well, but it is something that I appreciate about her in the sense that, she is good at reminding me, or just when I think about her and her mindset, it reminds me that there are contingencies that I would do well to prepare for. And I'm kind of bad about not preparing for them and just kind of, you know, jumping face first into any situation. So that's another thing that I would say that I appreciate about her, is that she really reminds me to be prepared and cautious. Now, the way that I've seen that play out in her life is that, you know, she really is kind of prepared for whatever comes. And she really has structured her life in such a way that she doesn't get knocked down very often by, you know, the events of life. They don't knock her down because she has prepared for them. Whereas I think some of us get knocked down because, you know, we just don't believe that the negative might come. You know, many of us just go through life kind of thinking we're invincible and being like, yeah, nothing bad's going to happen. It'll all be great. But that's not the case with her. Okay. So those are some things that I really appreciate about my ESTP mom. The last thing I want to say is this, is that she doesn't just tell me or my kids or the people in her life. She doesn't just tell us that we matter. She shows us. So she is a giver. She gives of her, her physical means, she gives of her time. She opens up her home. She makes a lot of meals. I can't cook worth a darn. When my wife has to go out of town for any reason, my mom's very quick to be like, well, I'll make you guys a meal. Come on over. Or do you want to go out to eat? We'll just go out to eat, and I'll pay for it. Don't worry about it. Or, something like that. She's very much a person who shows her love. She doesn't just say it. Now, saying it is good. Like, as human beings, we want to hear that we're cared about and that we matter. But showing it is really, that really packs the extra punch. You can say all day long how much you care about somebody, but they'll really only know how much you care when you show them how much you care. And she is definitely someone who goes out of her way to show the people in her life that they matter to her. And I really think that's an ESTP thing. I mean, I'm not saying only ESTPs do that. I don't mean that. But the more that, and that's, by the way, that's probably largely a product of that extroverted feeling child function. But the more that I read about ESTPs or, interact with ESTPs, I don't know a lot of them, but I realize that they are people who who are very action oriented. They want to, put substance behind their words. They want to do things. They want to accomplish. And one of the great things that I know my mom is always all about accomplishing is using her time, using her energy, using her resources to show the people in her life that they matter more than just saying it. Now, she does say it, but she goes so far beyond that. And so those are some things that I really appreciate about my ESTP mom. And on this Mother's Day, I wanted to take a moment to say that. I haven't made a video yet about ESTPs, primarily because my mom is the only one that I know really well, although I think we just figured out recently that my sister-in-law is an ESTP, so that's pretty interesting. So as I get to really think about, like, a lot of times I've interacted with these people, but I haven't thought about, personality type much as I'm interacting with them. Now that I know that I have two people in my life that I'm pretty sure are both ESTPs, I'll be thinking about that more so I can put some connections together on how ESTPs tend to be. And hopefully I can identify one or two more in my life, and then I'll feel comfortable making an ESTP video. But this one's really just about the things that I appreciate about my mom that I think are born out of the fact that she's an ESTP. Now, if you are an ESTP and the things that I've said about my mom are things that you believe are true about you, would you please leave that in comments so that I will know if it sounds like I'm hitting on the right track with what I think is true about my mom. And then if you are not an ESTP, but you know ESTPs, if you know them well, would you do me a favor and just leave comments below on what you think are the qualities of the ESTP that you really enjoy? And if you have an ESTP parent especially, I'd love to know the aspects of having an EST parent that you really appreciate. Okay, so again, please keep the comments positive. Let's praise the ESTPs for all the reasons why they're awesome, so that they can read that and know that, hey, we love ESTPs. They're totally cool people. Okay, and why? Again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And if you found this video to be valuable, useful, entertaining, would you please give it a thumbs up? Click the little like button wherever it is down there. And do please subscribe. That would mean the world to me. And please comment also. I love all the comments that I get. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Mother's Day to all of you out there, and have an awesome day. Bye now.